Dhamma Sarana. Venerable Swami Vahansa, dear teachers, and my dear children, and dear parents as well, and welcome to everyone else who's joining our program today. And this is actually our sixth online Dhamma school program. So we have come a bit of a long way now since the whole coronavirus thing started and that we weren't able to come to Sunday school as usual. I hope children you have been well and also now probably learning from home, doing online schooling as well. So good luck to the children as well who's helping our little children with their studies. Let's first of all, as for the ceremonies, let's move on to our first segment of the day, which is we know on a usual Sunday what we do is we offer the pujas and we say gatha and we observe 5 precepts, and also we practice a little bit of a meditation session with our Hamuduru. So we have today respectfully invite our Venerable Panyaloka Hamuduru to administer Panchasila or 5 precepts, and also to do a small guided meditation session. Puta, if you were with us last week, you knew how it is done. You would have experienced that with Panyalok Hamuduru, and also Swami Mohanse will do a small Dhamma talk or Dhamma sermon, a short Dhamma sermon. So first of all, I encourage you to look around, check your environment, make sure you are ready for the 5 precepts, and also your surrounding is supportive or allow you to practice a short guided meditation session. With that in mind, now I'm going to respectfully invite our Panyaloka Hamuduru to administer 5 precepts. Avasara ape Hamuduruni.
Dhamma Sarana. Good afternoon, dear children and parents. Please get ready to observe 5 precepts. Please keep your palms together and up and say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now please say namo tassa for 3 times to observe 5 precepts. Please repeat after me. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Sarana gamanang sampunnang. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surāmeraya මජ්ජපමාදට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. තිසරණේන සද්ධින් පංචශීලං ධම්මං සාදුකං සුරක්ඛිතං කତ୍වා අප්පමාදේන සම්පාදේ තබ්බං. Okay, now let's meditate. Please keep your body straight and gently close your eyes. Relax the muscles of your face. Relax your tongue. Don't press it to the palate, just relax it. And relax your shoulders, your chest, arms, your stomach, your legs, and relax the whole body. With closed eyes, you see your body. Mentally note the posture you are sitting. Your body is relaxed and all the activities of the body is stopped. Your mind is calm. Only thing going on in this body is breathing in and breathing out. Bring your awareness to the breath. And observe the breath. You don't control the breath, you just observe, watch how it happens. Breath goes in and comes out through your nose. So keep your awareness at the nostril and observe. Mindfully breathe in and mindfully breathe out. Sato assa sati, sato passa sati in Pali. With awareness you breathe in and with awareness you breathe out. Please continue this. You breathe in with awareness and breathe out with awareness. You know your breath, you watch it, you see it, you observe it. Now bring your awareness to your eyes. Your eyes are closed. Now you are going to open it. Slowly open your eyes. And thank you. That was wonderful. So dear children, do you remember the request that I made last week? Who remember it? My request was never stop learning and practice the Dhamma. Okay? Because some children, after leaving Sunday school, they do not want to continue learning Dhamma. But you should continue learning Dhamma. It is very helpful to lead a happy and successful life. You all want to live happy and successful life. So Dhamma will guide you. Therefore, never stop learning and practicing Dhamma. Today I am going to tell you a very important advice of the Lord Buddha. Once Lord Buddha said, those who cause pain others in search of their own pleasure will never achieve happiness. Okay? I say it again. Those who cause pain others in search of their own pleasure will never achieve happiness, not even in their next birth. The Lord Buddha spoke this to a group of young boys who were beating a snake with sticks. When questioned by the Buddha, the boys answered that they were afraid of the snake because the snake might bite them. They want to kill it. So Buddha said, if you do not want to be harmed, you also should not harm others. Okay? I say it again. If you don't want to be harmed, you also should not harm others. If you are in search of happiness for yourselves, do not hurt or torture anyone. That was the Buddha's advice. Okay, I know you are wonderful children. You don't hurt or torture animals. But sometimes you use some harsh words that cause hurt your parents or your brothers and sisters or friends. So verbally, mentally or physically don't cause any pain to others. If you are in search of happiness, please follow the right path. Thank you very much, and may the Buddha bless you all. Now, Siddhanta teacher will take over the session.
Avasarai, and thank you, Abe Hamdurani, with respect. Children, I hope you practice the guided meditation session with Swami Wahansa and perhaps our parents and the others who's watching the program as well. And there was a very beautiful message from Hamuduru as well. The importance of being kind to ourselves and others, and also the importance of not harming any other living being in order to not to be harmed. And there are two messages now, one from last week. Hamuduru made a request or asked something from you. Is it that's to continue learning Dhamma, not to stop? And today there was another advice from Hamuduru as well. And we will continue to further listen and educate ourselves with advices from Dhamma. Now children, let's move on to the first segment of the day. And this is the lesson will be completed by our Venerable Thamena Gamashantu Vimala Swami Wahanse. You all know very well of Swami Wahanse, also does monthly English Dhamma talk as well. So Swami Wahanse today has organized a very important lesson. Some of our senior students may have come across this lesson, perhaps not so the junior students, but it is a very important lesson called the 8 worldly conditions. So let's find out from Swami Wahanse what are these 8 worldly conditions and why they are called 8 worldly conditions. So with that in mind, I'm going to respectfully invite our Shantimula Swami Wahanse now to do the first lesson of the day. Avasarai Ape Hamdurun.
Thank you, Siddhanta, and thank you, the members of the panel. I want to say thanks to all the people who make this event success again. And I want to thank our Sunday school students and teachers as well for their strong dedication and effort to make these lessons successfully present to our Sunday school children, and also to the people, students who are with us from the many parts of the world, especially in Australia and Sri Lanka and some other parts of the world. So today, as usual, as a Buddhist monk, as a teacher of the Sunday, one of the teachers of the Sunday school, I have prepared, I have selected, I have put thoughts in my mind to teach you some of the most important and beautiful teachings of the Buddha. So I have arranged and I have designed my presentation with a few slices because if I follow my presentation with slices, I think that will help you to understand, and also that will help you to follow very well my presentation. So let me begin with my first slide, and then I will talk to you in details about my presentation. Yeah, first slide. Now you can see, children, have you come across about these teachings before? Have you seen? Have you learned? Have you heard about these teachings before? I think some of you may have, but doesn't matter if you may have not. Listen carefully today, okay? So, 8 worldly conditions. It's English, it says 8 worldly conditions. In Pali, it is called Atta Loka Dhamma. Atta means 8, Loka means worldly, Dhamma means conditions, right? So what is the first one? First one is gain, labha. And the second one, the opposite of gain, alabha, lose. The third one, fame, yasa. The fourth one, the opposite of yasa, defame. The next one, blame, ninda. The next one, praise, prasamsa, opposite of ninda or blame. The next one, happiness, sukha. And the last one is unhappiness, dukkha. Children, can I ask you a question? Who do you think will experience these 8 conditions? Do you think animal experience these things? Or do you think human experience these things? I think all of human beings and also animals also will experience these conditions in their life. So let me go to the next slide, which is this introduction to the topic. So in my introduction, it contains some details. Let's look at them. The 8 worldly conditions is very important teachings of the Buddha. It is one of the most important teachings of the Buddha. Do you know that in Mangala Sutta, the Buddha has explained and elaborated if some person is stay away, unaffected of these 8 conditions is great blessings. That means if somebody can stay away from unaffected by these 8 worldly conditions is great. And do you know why they are called 8 worldly conditions? Do you know why? Because they belong to this world. They belong to our world. Therefore, they are called 8 worldly conditions. If something belongs to in this world, and if they are worldly natural occurrences, we have to face, we have to encounter, we have to face to these natural phenomena as living beings. Nobody can escape. Nobody can live without experiencing these natural occurrences of 8 worldly conditions. Even the Lord Buddha and his disciples sometimes had to face these conditions. But you know what? The Lord Buddha and his disciples were not affected by these conditions. Why do you think they were not affected by these 8 conditions? Because they have developed their mind up to some certain levels. Therefore, they were not affected by these worldly 8 conditions. That's why they are called noble beings, right? Enlightened beings. So, these 8 worldly conditions keep us pretty busy in our daily life, right? Why? Because most of us are trying to obtain 4, and also we are trying to avoid another 4. There are 4 positive and there are 4 negatives. So most of us are trying to get positive and we are trying to avoid the negative sides, right? So let's move on to the next slides, then you can see them in details. The first fear, gain and lose, labha, alabha. So what do you mean by labha, gain? We all subject to both lose and gain, or gain and lose. But we like to gain rather than we lose, right? We always like to gain things rather than we lose something, right? And some more, when you get something, how do you feel? How do you feel, children, when you get something? When people get something, the people become more happier, right? And they become more delighted of having something or gaining something. For example, when we become delight when we have more money and more material possessions, right? If you have a very luxurious car, or if you have few $1,000s with you, how do you feel? Do you feel sad? Do you feel happy, right? So that's why our gain depends on happiness. Our happiness depends on gain, right? So for children, when you get a present for you on your birthdays, or if you get a present from your high performance, good performance from the school, you get good satisfaction, or you become very happy, right? This type of happiness usually is based on gain. So I hope you understand the first one, labha, right? So let's move on to the next one. Next one is the opposite of gain. What is the opposite of gain? What is the opposite of labha? It is alabha, means lose. The happiness of gain does not last long forever, right? Your happiness may disappear very soon. It will disappear when you experience lose, right? If you lose something, then you experience unhappiness, right? So therefore Buddha said that you will labha, when you do not get something, that happiness does not last long. The happiness of gain does not last long forever, right? One you can bear gains happily and smiling, but not so with the lose, right? Loses. When you lose something, you are not happy, right? Especially when you lost your money, when you lose your mobile phones or something like that, you're not happy. You are not happy, right? For example, when you lose your money or material things, you become upset, disappointed, stressed, or angry, right? Sometimes that leads to even to commit suicide, right? I have seen some people in this world, when they can't bear the lose, when they can't bear the if they are unbearable, this loss or lose, they even try to commit suicide, right? Especially in Sri Lanka, I have seen if they fail their final examinations, like A-level or O-level or any other forms of exams, they may commit suicide. Why? Because they are not experienced, they do not have balanced mind to accept this reality, the loosed. The next point is that we must train our mind to maintain the balance, right? If under any circumstance of gain or lose. No matter how much you gain, no matter how much you lose, you need to maintain your mind to face the situation for gain and also the for lose, right? Because you know that, have you seen the coins? The coins have two sides, right? One side and other side, two sides. So if you have a balanced mind, you have less disappointments. If you can make your mind balanced, then you can have less disappointments, right? Because everything has positive and negative things, right? Good example, if you have time, you can read the story of the Visakha. I'm not going to explain the story here because I do not have lots of time. If you have time, please go and read the story of Visakha. Then you will have a good knowledge and understanding about this. Let's move on to the next slides then. The second fear of 8 worldly conditions is fame and defame. Yasa and ayasa. What do you mean by yasa then? Yasa means fame. We all like to have good reputation, but not to have bad reputation. Right? What do you mean by good reputation and bad reputation? Some people become very proud when they become famous, right? If you are on the newspaper and if you are photo on the magazine or newspaper, when you see that, how do you feel? You feel very happy. When everybody talks about you, then people become very happy, you become very happy, right? And nowadays, you can see lots of people do various things in order to become famous. For example, people take photos and upload in the Facebook when they do some charitable activities and expect many comments and many likes. Do you expect them? I think you too, right? You post something on the Facebook and you expect many people to comment, like, oh, I got 1,000 likes, I got 1,000 comments, 1,000 comments. Oh, I'm very happy, so I have lots of fans in my Facebook or somewhere. So people have such kind of happiness or such kind of yasa, reputation, having lots of friends, right? I'm not telling that they are bad, they are good, but at the same time you have to maintain your mind to experience also when you gain the ayasa also, bad reputation sometimes. Many people want to associate with famous people, right? You want to associate with like Justin Bieber or some other famous singers or cartoon characters, right? Why? Because you like to be famous, right? Having associated with them, right? So that is the human nature. That is called yasa, fame. So let's talk about the opposite side of the yasa. Let's move on to the next slide then. Yeah, this is a defame. Nobody likes to have defame, right? We are not ready to hear to anything bad about you, right? Are you also the same, right? You don't like if somebody talk behind your back. Do you like it? No, right? We become upset if anyone, any bad rumor is spread about you, right? Any bad secret or any bad things is spread about you, you don't like to hear it, right? And you know what? It may take more than years to build a good reputation, but within 1 second, 1 minute, it can be easily demolished, right? Your reputation, your good reputation may be demolished within 1 second, right? If you behave badly. And also people may find various reasons and faults in order to damage your reputation. Don't worry. Don't worry how people talk behind your back, or don't worry what other people say about you. if you lead a good life, you don't have to worry about what other people say. You know what? Even the Lord Buddha received, and many wise people receive many criticisms and many false accusations in order to damage their image, right? But they were not affected. They went for their goals. They achieved their final goals, even though they were criticized many times. Yeah. So let's move on to the next slides to see what we have. Yeah, third fear, blame and praise, right? Ninda and prasansa, or prasamsa and ninda. Praise, let's talk about praise. Praise and blame are next to worldly conditions that affect mankind, that affect human beings. When people praise you or approve you and tell good about you, then you feel delighted, right? It is natural and it is okay and it is obvious to be elated when others praise us, when others talk good about us, right? Then we become very delighted and very happy, right? That means people accept your good character and who you are in the society. So that is why it's called prasamsa or praise, right? So let's move on to the next slides then. The opposite of what is that? Ninda, prasamsa, opposite of prasansa, right? It's called ninda, blame. It is natural to be upset or to become upset when you are blamed. And you become very unhappy when people criticize or talk bad about you in somewhere or disapprove your success or disapprove yourself. Right? Some unwise people even take revenge when they are criticized, right? Because people who do not know the true nature of the things, people who do not really understand the teachings of the Buddha, and when they face this phenomena, ninda or blame, they can't face to that situation. And sometimes they take revenge, right? They want to fight with them and they want to assassinate them, they want to kill them. Why? Because they don't understand. They can't maintain, they can't face this reality, right? The Buddha and many other wise people also were blamed and criticized, but luckily they were not affected. They achieved their goal and they went to their final destination. Right? That's it. That is how you should be, and that is how we should be. Right? So that is all about blame, ninda. So let's move on to the next slide. The last fear, the fourth fear of 8 worldly conditions is happiness and unhappiness. Most of the people like to talk about happiness. Most people, they don't like to talk about unhappiness. And most people like to gain happiness, and most of the people, they don't like to get unhappiness. We do everything, we do study, we eat, we do all the things in order to get happiness. Isn't that so? Yeah, that's good if you can stay happily always. Let's talk about happiness. We experience happiness when our senses are gratified, right? Our senses means our eyes, nose, tongue, right? And our mouth, our body. So through these faculties, through these senses, when you see the picture of beautiful photo of someone's photo, statue or picture, through your eyes, you become happy, right? And when you hear very good sounds, very good music of the Justin Bieber or someone else, you become very happy. Oh, I love this song, I like this song, right? Do you have such kind of happiness? And when you smell some perfume, right? There are so many kinds of perfumes in this world. So if you can smell, or if you have a very good odor, then you feel happy, right? And also when you eat some food like what? Maybe McDonald's or KFC or something else. Our small children, they always like to eat those kind of junk food, right? So when they eat that junk food, they feel happy, right? And also when you have hot bath during the winter season, during the winter, you feel very happy sensation, happy sensation, right? So, but this kind of happiness, this type of happiness does not last long. And that is not the true happiness actually. Then what is the true happiness? Real happiness is the purity of your mind. If you have the pure mind towards all the things and towards yourself and towards the world, and that is the real happiness. That is why we are trying to teach you how to gain real happiness, right? And the Buddha explained 4 kinds of happiness further for the lay people in the society. I'm not going to explain them in details. I'm just explain to you one by one with the words. The first one is happiness of possessions. Possession means wealth, health, property, children. People become very happy when they have these things. And happiness of using wealth, happiness of using their money, and happiness of having children, they become happy. Happiness of being debt-free. If you are free from debtedness, then you are free, debtness, right? And people become very happy when they are blameless. If they can live their life blamelessly, then they become happy. Happiness of blamelessness, right? So these are called happiness. Let's move on to the unhappiness lies then. And basically, people become very unhappy when they experience unpleasant sensation of our senses. Like if you experience ugly picture, ugly photo, then you become happy or unhappy. You become unhappy, right? And if you hear some bad sounds through your ears, you become unhappy, right? And if you smell something from your nose, you become very disgusted or disgusting, and you become unhappy, right? And if you taste something unpleasant like bitter, right, and too salty and too spicy, then you become unhappy and angry, right? And when you feel discomfort, using maybe too hot weather, because of too cold weather, then you become unhappy, right? So those are the basic unhappiness that we experience through our senses. The Lord Buddha further mentioned various types of unhappiness in his first noble truth. What are they? Birth is suffering, dukkha; aging is dukkha; illness is dukkha; death is dukkha; sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are dukkha. Association with unbeloved is dukkha. Separation from the loved one is dukkha. Not getting what one's like is dukkha. In conclusion, in short, the Buddha said, clinging to 5 aggregates are dukkha. Right? So these are the forms of unhappiness that people experience in this world. Right? So let's move on to the conclusion of my presentation. So in conclusion, I have strongly recommended and I have strongly given you some guidelines and some message you to think about and you to follow, right? What are these? Living in this world, we are repeatedly encounter these 8 worldly conditions like gain, lose, fame, defame, blame, praise, happiness, and pain. The challenge is to live without being affected by these conditions. That is the big challenge for you to practice right? If you can lead your life without being affected by these 8 worldly conditions, and that is the winning point, and that's the winning game, right? The people who are wise and people who practice the teachings of the Buddha continuously and regularly and learn how to live without being affected by these conditions, just like a rock, and not just simple rock, solid rock. What do you mean by solid? Unmovable, a big rock, right? Just like a solid rock that is not shaken by wind and they remain unmoved. So I want you to be a solid rock. How can be a solid rock? You have to practice the teachings of the Buddha continuously and regularly and always. If you can practice the teachings of the Buddha, you don't have to worry about these 8 worldly conditions. You can lead your life happily, peacefully, healthily, and you can achieve and you can go to your goal. This is the end of my presentation, and I'm very sure that my dear children, our Sunday school children, may have learned something from my presentation. And if you have some questions regarding about my presentation, you are totally feel free to ask any questions. And I hope you may have good understanding of my presentation, and I hope you put them into practice in order to lead your life without being affected by these worldly 8 conditions. Wish you all the best and good luck. Dhamma Sarana.
Thank you, Abe Hamudurone. We respectfully thank Swami Wahanse for explaining the 8 worldly conditions. And I think Swami Wahanse used some of the examples, children, that you can relate in your day-to-day life, like listening to your favorite music of Justin Bieber, or even having your favorite food. So these are the things that you need to be mindful. But there was a key message, a very strong message. Swami Wahanse at the end said, try to be like a solid rock. That has a very deeper meaning. For example, you can use these 8 worldly conditions to do a reflection on any given time, because either you are faced with happiness or unhappiness, or blame or praise, or could be any of the other 4 of the 8 worldly conditions. So when you're too happy, you can also self-reflect and see whether that's going to last forever. Or when you're not happy, when you're sad, you can also self-reflect and see whether that's going to last forever. Same with the other ones. So that's something you can practice and apply every day. So we thank our Swami Wahanse, and let's move on to the second segment of the day, or the second lesson for the day. Today is by Dhammika Bamarandage teacher. Teacher is going to give us or teach us a Jataka story. Some of you may already know this Jataka, but let's see the Jataka story, and let's also see what we can learn from this Jataka story. So the Jataka story name is Nandi Visala Jataka. So with that in mind, let's invite Dhammika teacher to teach us about the Jataka story of Nandi Visala. Dhammika teacher, over to you.
Good afternoon, dear Pute. I hope all of you are happy and safe. I got some slides to be presented. Let's go to the slide. Today I am going to talk about a Jataka story. You know, Jataka story means previous life of the Lord Buddha. In Lord Buddha's previous lives, he was known as a Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva practiced many requirements, including 10 perfections known as Paramita, to become Buddha in future life. Today's Jataka story is Nandi Visala Jataka. Before that, I am going to be asking you a question. If someone talks to you gently and kindly, how would you feel? Think about that. If someone talks to you loudly and harshly, how would you feel? Think about that. This refers to animals too. When we talk to animals kindly, They feel the kindness and will be faithful for us. Let's go to the next slide. Now the story. Once upon a time, Bodhisattva was born as a bull. When it was a small calf, the owner gave it to a Brahmin. The Brahmin loved animal, so it was treated like his own child. He named it Nandavisala, which means great happiness. Because of the Brahmin's love towards Nandavisala, it grew up with all the comforts. This animal had a very strong prey. Shall we move to the next slide? One day, Nandavisala thought of preparing for the kindness and love shown to him by the Brahmin. It was a very grateful animal and thought of a way to show him gratitude. Nandavisala went to his master and asked to go to a very rich merchant who had a herd of bulls and take a bet, saying that his bull Nandavisala is very strong and can draw 100 fully loaded carts at once. One day, Brahmin went and discussed about his bet with the rich merchant. The merchant laughed at him, but thought of earning more money. So he agreed, but said the bet is for 1,000 pieces of gold. They decided on a date and a time. Now, the next slide. The rich merchant got ready for the event. The people gathered for the event. He filled 100 carts with sands and stones. Brahmin went to the bull and fastened it to the leading carts. He took his seat in the cart and shouted out to the bull. Nandavisala got hurt and was so surprised. To hear his masters shouting at him. He did not move. The merchant was happy and demanded 1,000 pieces of gold. Brahmin paid. The bet felt sorry. He lost his money. He did not talk to anything but went to his bed and lay there. This slide shows scenario. The Brahmin shouting to the bull. Bull is sad and did not pull the carts. The merchant happy because he is thinking more money. The bull realized the agony of his master. He slowly went to him and explained why he had behaved like that. Things were settled, and the Brahmin went again to the merchant and bet this time 2,000 pieces of gold. Nandavisala advised his master to increase the amount. The merchant agreed, thinking he was going to earn more. Now move to the next slide. Again he got ready with the carts. The Brahmin came with the bull, fastened him to the leading carts and took his seat. He spoke very gently and softly. My child, pull all these carts and prove that you are the strongest one. Okay, move the next slide. Nandavisala was happy to hear the kind words of his master. Without wasting time, he pulled the carts until the last one came to the place where the first cart was. The rich merchant had to pay 2,000 pieces of gold to the Brahmin. So he got what he lost too. The people who were witnessing the incident too gave money to Nandavisala, appreciating his victory. Dul Pute, What do you think the moral of the story? Kind words make a miraculous power. Go to the last PowerPoint slide. Pute, give up harsh words and practice the kind and nice words to our day-to-day lives. Thank you all for listening. Over to you, Siddhartha.
Thank you, Dhammika teacher. We thank you for sharing just the story of Untitled. Children, if you listen very carefully, what's the key message there? Key message was, or key message is for all of us, is the importance of using the kind words. Because as much as we like to hear kind words, that people approach us with kindness, nice words like thank you, please, excuse me, I'm sorry. And we also must learn to use these words in return when we interact, when we deal with our people, our friends, our relatives, and especially with your parents. You should have a lot of respect when you speak to your parents and use kind words, words like please, thank you, because parents do a lot of things for your teachers or anyone in that matter. But the key message there is using kind words, because using kind words goes a very long way and it's very easy to achieve good results than trying to be harsh or be rude by using harsh words try to get results. That's an important message, not just for here, that you can apply any day, every day in your daily life. With that in mind, children, let's move on to the third segment of the day. It's by our one of our grade 6 teachers, Dr. Govindu Chandra Dasa, and it's also the Govindu teacher has selected a timely message today, and the message is, or the topics chosen is about, do you have resilience? Are you resilient to face the current situation in the world? So it's an interesting topic, and let's see what teacher Govindu or the Dr. Govindu Chandradasa has to share with us today. With that in mind, I'm going to invite the teacher now to take over from here. Over to you, Govindu sir.
Thank you, Siddhanta. Good afternoon, everyone, Sarana children. I don't think there is anyone around us who would not know what's at hand or what all of us are going through. Of course, everyone's heard of coronavirus. They call it SARS-2, COVID-19. It's a virus, and so basically our bodies have to fight it off. All what we could do is either make our bodies be ready for it, to anticipate it and fight it. So that's before we get it. And that's called a vaccine. And either support our bodies to fight it off once we get it. That's called therapy. So we don't have either of these at this given moment of time. Even though in a lot of places, laboratories and countries, they are trying hard to find either a vaccine or a therapy. So is this normal? Is this whole thing something abnormal? I like to think not. There's nothing abnormal, and a lot of scientists and historians are of the same opinion. This is a normal thing that occurs and had occurred in our human history, regardless of where this virus came from. Lord Buddha called these naturally occurring concepts as niyama dhamma. We will go through them in detail some other time. Also, we have prepared some slides for you to follow along with this presentation. So what is the norm? Is everything being lovely and everyone being happy? Is that the norm? Or are we on a path of decay, going downhill? Come to think of it, if you take a fruit from the moment it's visible on a tree, it starts to ripen and is on a path of decaying. This is what the Lord Buddha found out and taught us as dukkha. In fact, dukkha is 12-fold, from birth to diseases, old age, death, etc. And is one of the Four Noble Truths he preached. And why does this happen so? Is the obvious question. Lord Buddha also had an answer to this more than 2,600 years ago. Because everything changes. Every living and non-living thing in the universe changes. Buddha called it anicca, or impermanence. And because it changes, there arises dukkha, or dissatisfaction. And along with anatta, around anicca, dukkha, anatta, the Lord Buddha built his whole doctrine. World's leading scientists, scholars have come to accept this fact, that the best explanation of nature comes through Buddhism. Albert Einstein, Niels Bohr, Bertrand Russell, to name a few. Children, I advise you to research on this. So the most important side and aspect about Buddhism is, it does not stop at explaining how and why all of these occur, but also comes up with an answer how we might want to react to these circumstances. Of course, that could be looked at in two ways. One, how could Buddhism help me or us in our day-to-day lives? And also, if one would like to think more broadly, to come up with an answer to a bigger problem of samsara. Most are now talking how we all would come out at the end of all these troubles which we are facing today, and what sort of an approach we should have. Maybe we have to rethink how we treat ourselves, others, and the nature around us. Lord Buddha came up with this advice: adhering to 5 precepts and the Noble Eightfold Path, the better way of life. Before we end, I would like to touch on what we should do to tackle the day-to-day physical and mental stress, especially in the current context. We could do bhavana, meditation, for example, anapanasati, or focusing on breathing. That is a good way to ward off stress, and this is widely being used as a medical therapy as well. We could be kind to all around us. If we can't be physically helpful to someone, we could meditate and spread loving kindness. Or being mindful of what, when, where one is, and how one should react and act will keep you safe and others, not only in times like these, but at all times. Also, don't forget the steps we can all take to avoid the spread of this virus. And that is the end of this presentation. May all beings be happy and healthy and safe. Dhamma Sarana. I'd be happy to answer any questions you would have at the end. Over to you, Siddhartha.
Children, these things happen. I was talking and my mic was mute. I lost my mindfulness for a second. This is what happens. It's very important to be mindful all the time. We should thank our Govindu teacher explaining the importance of being resilient, especially around times like this. I think the teacher touched on a number of different things that we can learn, both from Buddhism as well as from our practices, good habits, like washing our hands on the very last slide. I know it's a big, long slide. Maybe you can go and have a look later again in the video, some of the content in there. But there are things that we know, the meditation, that help us stay calm, be mentally strong. Our Hamuduru explained the 8 worldly conditions. And then there are other practices. We know the 4 Noble Truths, Eightfold Path. So there are a lot of things that we can put into practice what we have learned so far, how to be resilient both mentally and physically, and stay strong around things like that. So that's our last segment for the day. If you have any questions, you can use the chat on YouTube and send all these questions you have from our lessons, or even perhaps if you still have a question from a previous lesson, don't hold on to them. Send them to us. We will try to answer if you have time. And also, if you're joining us from MS Teams, you can also use the question section in the MS Team to send all the questions to us, and we will try to answer with the time we have. We have received a question for our Swamin Wahanse, and the question of Hamdurune is, or Swamin Wahanse is, what if I accidentally step on an ant? So I will repeat the question. What happens if I accidentally step on an ant or any other animal, for an example? It was the question. Over to you, Ape Hamdurune, if you may answer that question.
Thank you very much, Siddhantaya, and thank you, student who asked that important question. Actually, if someone accidentally steps on any living creatures or living beings, there is no any accumulated demerits or akusala of that incident. Because in order to be completed unwholesome deeds or akusala, some certain conditions need to be completed. For example, the first one is Chetana. The Lord Buddha has explained, Chetana bhikkhave kammam vadami. In order to complete unwholesome activity or unwholesome deeds, you must have volition, right? To commit a crime or to kill or to do some unwholesome deeds, the first thing that you need to have volition, Chetana. So without the intention of killing anything, and if you accidentally step on any living beings, there is nothing wrong with that. You don't accumulate any demerits or sin or akusala or bad result, because you did not have, or you do not have a bad intention of killing ants or any living creatures. So most importantly, you must have a volition or intention or chetana in order to kill or do something, in order to have the bad deeds or akusala or kusala. So important is chetana, volition, volitional action. Thank you, Siddhanta.
Thank you, Abe Hamdurune. I hope that would have answered the question for that Dua Oputa who sent that question through. So the main thing is there are certain conditions that we have to be completed in order to it become a sin. And one of the main things is your intention. As you ask in the question itself, what happens if I accidentally step on an ant? So it says that it's an accident. There's no intention of you to do or commit any harm to any living being at that particular moment. And Swami Nuhanse explained a little bit in detail the answer. We have received another question for our Swami Nuhanse as well. Looks like a couple of questions is for Swami Nuhanse today. And the question is, some people think negatively about a lot of things. That's very important. We talk about being positive and having a positive mindset, and that Dua Buddha asked the question, why some people think negatively about a lot of things or unhappy about a lot of things. Ape Hamdurune, over to you now, if you want to add some comments around that question.
Yeah, actually, thinking negatively about the things is a problem actually, because it may affect you in many ways if you always think negatively of many things, right? Buddhism does not teach people to think always or think negatively, only the positively, but realistically. Buddhism also neither pessimistic nor optimistic, but realistic. The Lord Buddha has explained people to understand the reality of the things. If you understand the reality of the things, then you may not always think about only negative side of the things. For example, today I explained to you the lessons of the great eight worldly conditions, right? So this eight worldly condition always explains both sides, positive and negative. So when you always gain something, you become happy, right? And also we always not accumulate or gain things. Sometimes we lose things, right? Sometimes we lost a lot of valuable things. That is the nature. That is the reality. So we also need to understand that phenomena of the things, and also at the same time you need to maintain your mind to face the reality and to have the balanced livelihood, having understood the both side negative and positive. Not only always think positive, right? Negative, because both has negative and positive. So we need to understand that situation and need to maintain your mind to face these two things, right? So if you keep thinking always about the positive things, that keep thinking about the negative things, that may affect you in many ways, right? Think about that. If you think positive, negative things, there may be some positive things that you need to think about also. Not always negative things, positive and negative. Right? Like I told you, every coin has two sides, positive and negative. So you have taken only one side of the coin. You have completely forgotten the other side of the coin, right? There's a positive side of the everything as well, right? So you need to understand that reality, positive and negative of everything. Yeah. I hope that understand the answer will understand this today. Thank you, Siddhanta. Over to you.
Thank you. With respect, Abehamd Rene, I hope that could have answered the question from Dantua or Putha. Why some people always think negatively, but there are two sides of the coin, negative and positive as well. Children, this is a very important topic, as I mentioned earlier, these 8 worldly conditions. That's something you can apply yourself all the time, every day, with whatever you do, whatever you receive, whatever going through your mind, either within yourself, or look around and see and try to relate to, or look at from the 8 worldly conditions point of view and see how your thought patterns work, whether you're too happy, too sad, too negative, or extremely happy because you got a lot of praises, or you're very upset because you got a lot of blames, or you got accused for something, whether you've done it or whether you haven't done it, but that made you upset. So you can relate to this topic in many, many ways. We have received a question for our Dhammika teacher around the Jataka story, and the question to Dhammika teacher we have received today is, why the master used harsh words at first? That was the question to Dhammika teacher.
Thank you, Siddhanta. Thank you, Gurupute. The master was thinking about winning and getting 100 pieces of gold, because he forgot about being nice to Nanda Visala. Earlier he was nice to Nanda Visala. Nanda Visala never heard unkind, harsh words. He heard kind words only. But Straight away, the Brahmin told harsh words to the Nandavisala. He thought anyway he can got money, 1,000 pieces of gold. That's why he told harsh words, and straight away he thought to get money. That's why he talked like that. Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you. Over to Siddhartha.
Thank you, Dhammika teacher. Yes, sometimes even a good person can be easily distracted with, like teacher explained, because he wanted to make a quick money with the bet and make the life easy. So he probably would have, the master probably would have got carried away with things, and he forgot how he cared for the bull. He forgot all to use all the loving, kind words, and he just straight away he just went with the harsh words and said, "Hey, pull the cards." Or pull the 100 cards. So that happens. So it's very important. It also kind of goes with the being mindfulness as well. Children, I think that's all the questions we have received for the day. Unless if you send any questions that we haven't come to us yet, we will try to answer if there are further unanswered questions from this session today, and we will try to pick up next week if there's any unanswered or anything that left unanswered. Also, next week is very important for us because we are planning to show you how to build a Vesak lantern or Vesak kudua, how to make a Vesak kudua. Because you know, month of May is very important for us as Buddhists. We celebrate Lord Buddha's birth, the Great Enlightenment, as well as the Great Passing of Lord Buddha. So the next week is the 2nd of May, the first Sunday of the month of Vesak. And we are planning to show you, do a demonstration how to do a Vesak lantern at home. So stay tuned, and we will try to demonstrate that in this program next week. And also we will have further information on the upcoming SEAL program for you that is planned for the following Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, that is the Sunday, the 10th of May. We are trying to do a SEAL program, the Vesak SEAL program for you children. So we'll have more information and updates about that upcoming program as well, and how we can observe SEAL from home. So that's the end of the segments for today. And I want to thank you for coming along and joining to the program, asking all the questions. And also I want to thank our Swamin Wahanses, our teachers, and everyone behind the screen who works hard to bring everyone together, because we do this program live because we felt it's more effective that way rather than doing a pre-recording session. So it's more effective when we do it live. And there are challenges, and I hope you will bear with us as we overcome these obstacles and navigate our way through. And so that's the end of the program today. But lastly, as we always, what we're going to do now is we're going to respectfully invite our Swami Wahanse to share the merits with the divine beings and departed relatives. So let's be ready to share the merits with the divine beings. I'm going to respectfully invite our Shanta Vimala Swami Wahanse now. Avasaraya Pe Hamduran.
Thank you, Siddhantaya, once again. And we have successfully completed our live session, our talk, our lessons today. And now we have come to the last part of our program, and that is the transference of merits to divine beings. So as usual, you know that when we conduct this kind of the sharing Dhamma discussions, actually we can accumulate lots of merits, right? So merits very important for us, right? To have a bright future, good birth in the future, and also merit will be helpful for the divine beings also to have their divine world much more better, right, in the future. So let's give them some merits and let's help them. So concentrate your mind and think about, may all the divine beings be able to rejoice and take part of our good deeds which we have done today. May all divine beings take of our good merits. Having taken of our good merits, may all divine beings be able to lead and enhance and develop their celestial world further and further, and eventually may all the divine beings be able to attain the final goal of Nibbana, and also may all divine beings extend their protection, love, and guidance towards all the family members and our beloved children. May all of us be able to attain the final goal of Nibbana. Within that, we recite these stanzas together. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika Punyam thang anumoditva chiran rakkhamtu desanam. Akasattha ca bhummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyam thang anumoditva chiran rakkhamtu tvang sadati. Okay, wish you all the best. Dhamma Sarana.